Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with a Power Rangers Cosmic Fury theory video. So recently it was confirmed that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury will adapt elements of Kyuranger, and those elements will just be some villain footage and of course the mecha footage. But we are not going to be getting the suits, at least not in the traditional form, and instead we are going to be using some upgraded and enhanced version of the Dino Fury / Ryusoldier suits as the main suits of the series, piloting the Kyuranger Zords. However, I wanted to talk about the possibility that we could see the Kyuranger suits in the series or in the franchise at some point in some way. Now, one of the reasons that was originally given why Kyuranger would be hard to adapt just straight up when it was asked about before was because of the large number of characters and needing to introduce all those characters and have to juggle them all. However, if you have 6 main Dino Fury Rangers that have been established for 2 seasons, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. So as a result, we could possibly see some of these suits. You never know. The series has been surprising us. They could cherry pick some special Rangers, such as Ryu Commander or Ho-Oh Soldier, and give them some sort of role. I mean, let's talk about Ryu Commander for a second. I mean, he's kind of got this special, like 6 Ranger Commander-ish look to him, so you could very well have this character come in as some sort of reoccurring presence in the season. You could use his suit from Kyuranger, like his civilian suit, and be like, hey, this is a guy we met in space, and he shows up a couple times. It could be as simple as that. You also have Tarek sitting out there, who is wearing the Void Knight armor, which is also purple, easy connection to make. Tarek could show up or join the Rangers in space and get his redemption moment, and rather than wearing the Ryuso brown suit to represent that, he could wear the Commander suit and be sort of the quote-unquote 6th Ranger of Cosmic Fury, or the Special Ranger introduced in Cosmic Fury. I've seen people theorize and want Billy to be Ryu Commander, even before this happened, when people wanted Kyuranger as the Anniversary series. You could do something like that. You could have a new character come in for a reoccurring character. You could have Tarek or Billy, like an existing character, become the Ranger as well. You could do the same thing with Ho-Oh Soldier. You could have a reoccurring character be introduced. You could have a veteran Ranger take it up. You could have an existing character like Tarek take it up. I mean, I'm only highlighting these because they're kind of more significant. You could arguably use any of the other Rangers. You could bring in Sasori Orange if you wanted to be like, hey, let's have an Orange Ranger and he pilots the Scorpion Zord. You could do anything like that. However, there is one possibility that I kind of like that could also offer the opportunity to do this as well, which is set up the mythology of how they got the Zords as, hey, these Zords used to belong to the Cosmic Ranger team long ago. You show a brief flashback, like this was the Cosmic Ranger team, this is where your fleet of 9, 12 Zords comes from, and then you can show maybe a couple flashbacks through the series if you wanted, like, oh hey, the Cosmic team once faced this villain, and cue a flashback of like Red Rangers fighting them or something. And then that way you establish those suits as part of the PRU, it gives reasons for the Zord existing, the flashback is kind of a cool way of establishing an ancient Ranger team, or at least an older Ranger team. And then that opens up the possibility of them being explored later. A lot of people would probably roll their eyes at this, but I wouldn't be mad if they did this, and then we got a comic series later on that was about the origins of the Cosmic Fury team. And if you do that, then it opens up a reason why one of the other suits might show up. Like, you could just write off the Core 9 as, this was the ancient Cosmic Fury team, or not necessarily write them off, but just use those as only in the past, but then say like, hey, Ryu Commander's powers survived, and now Tarek has them, or kind of adapt a version of the story of Ho-Oh Soldier, where he was like actually from the past, and be like, oh hey, one of the Cosmic team actually survived and he's awoken present day. You could do something like that, so you could have both approaches, where you establish the Cosmic team as ancient Power Rangers, and you can use the suits and old footage of like, this is where your Zords came from, but hey, look, there's a couple Ranger powers from this surviving, we got a couple extra Rangers in the series, and I think most importantly about this, it opens up the possibility that we could get figures of the Kyurangers. I know a lot of people are disappointed about us not getting the Kyuranger suits. I am only ever disappointed now about not getting Sentai suits because I want figures of them, like because I want us to get more away from Sentai, but I do like this idea. I think that would be really cool for the mythology and a cool way of integrating those suits, because then it would allow us to not only use them in some form, enrich the mythology, but also opens up the possibility for figures. And let's not forget though, if none of these ideas come true, because there's no reason they would, but if we don't use a single Kyuranger Ranger suit in the season, that does not put them necessarily off the table for all time to show up in Power Rangers in some form. I mean, let's not forget, we've done this before with the Dairanger and Kakuranger footage. We kept the main mmpr suits, we only really adapted their Zord footage, but we made use of other things. I mean, we used the White Ranger as our new 6th Ranger, so that opens up the the idea that, again, we could use one of the Kyurangers as an extra ranger. We adapted the Alien Rangers as just a mini-series thing. We adapted the Kakuranger suits. So again, there's a precedent there for that. I mean, the main Dairanger suits, which we did not touch for years, just kind of floated out there in the ether and eventually made their way into the series with Megaforce. And then they also got their own comic series. So even if we were to never touch the Kyuranger suits in Cosmic Fury or whatever soon, they kind of exist there now in that same ether as Dairanger, where it's possible we could see them in something in the future. So I wouldn't necessarily give up hope, and I think there's some cool ways that we could possibly see the Kyuranger suits in the franchise at some point in its lifespan. But what do you guys think? Do you want to see us actually use the Kyuranger suits at some point? How would you like to see it happen? Would you rather it be in a comic or in live action or both? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps to ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.